Hi everyone, Big Pauly back for a brand new video. Yes, back for a little talk about some films from the 90s. Yes, we are going back to the 90s. This is going to be a very laid back video. I'm not going to do any fancy editing crap like that. Although you might get a nice interesting thumbnail that looks something like that. Or me holding up a load of Blu-rays, but that's all you're going to get. So it's just a laid back chat. Because for the last couple of weeks I've kind of had a hard on for 90s action disaster films. And I just went through my collection, plucked a load out that I haven't seen for God knows how long, and decided to watch them. It all started when I was sent Point Break, which was a really good film. Really enjoyed that one. And I figured there are so many great 90s action disaster films, and it's been such a long time, so why not just watch them all? Now, I was aiming for 12. I was aiming to watch 12. I managed 11. One dropped off because if some of you know that I've been ill for the last week, and I wanted to get this done and get it out of the way before the beginning of October so that I can go straight into all my horror watches throughout the month of October. So, plus I also have Joker to rewatch as well. So I figured I've seen that film. It was going to be Con Air. That was going to be the other one, which is a fantastic film with Nicolas Cage. So funny. Steve Buscemi. I love it. I absolutely adore that film. Yeah. So that was the other film. So that was going to be the 12th one. But anyway, we've got 11 to go through. I've written a couple of notes down for like the pitch quality and the sound quality that I can remember. Because don't forget, this goes back about 2 weeks, and I can probably only remember since yesterday. I've got a memory like a sieve. So anyway, without further ado, let's get into it. And let's go through the 11 that I've got. Actually, I should rename this the Stranger Things action adventure films or something like that, because, you know, there's 11. Yeah, that was crap, wasn't it? Right, okay, so I've got my iPad with a few bits and pieces on. Nothing interesting. Let's go through the first film. Okay, so the first one that I watched, other than Point Break, is Cliffhanger. Cliffhanger? Yeah, Cliffhanger. This is Stallone. Yeah, see what happens when I don't edit. Yeah, is it Rennie Harlin? Yes, it is. It's directed by Rennie Harlin. This is a really good action adventure film. Brand new restoration as well. Yeah, look good. And it's about Stallone, who plays this kind of like mountain rescue bloke in the snowy mountains. And there's a bit of an accident at the beginning. Oh my God, there's a bit of an accident. I hate heights, and every time I watch that scene at the beginning, flipping Norma. Yeah, I don't even want to go up a ladder or stand on a chair. But that kind of like sets up the tone of the film. And then you've got John Lithgow as like the baddie, and he's really good at playing the baddie. And it's totally opposite of what I remember in when he was in Third Rock from the Sun. You couldn't get two different characters. So it shows how good an actor he is. And he was stealing a load of money on these aeroplanes. And I think they had a blowout or something. It's not a bloody car. They had a bit of a blowout midway, or one of them turned on each other. And the plane crashed. And they were supposed to be transporting, I think it was about $100 million worth of bearer bonds. And it all fell down into the mountains. So they go searching in the mountains for all this money. And of course they stumble, upon Stallone plus Michael Rooker and the rest of the mountain rescue people. And they take them hostage and force them to go and find, the money. Really good film. Gripping, great action. Dolby Vision looks fantastic. The soundtrack, DTS HD Master Audio 5.1, was really good. Fantastic picture on this. Minimal grain. There was really great face detail. You know, you could see all like the pimples in the snow. You know, your face was all frozen and cold, and stubble and stuff like that. Really good picture quality on that. And the audio was fantastic with lots of bass as well. So yeah, great film. Love that film. That's Cliffhanger. That was from 1993. Okay, next up, we're skipping forward a few years and we are going to 1997. And we have Turbulence with Ray Liotta and Lauren Holly, not Holly Hunter, Lauren Holly, which I don't think I've seen her in too much outside of this. Yeah, so this is from 1997. And this is basically Die Hard on a plane. Yes, Ray Liotta is this prisoner that's being transported on Christmas Eve. I think it's to LA, and it's a very minimal passenger flight. So you've got a few people, just a handful of people. You've also got Brendan Gleeson, who's also being transported. He's another prisoner. He's a bit of a mean git in this as well. I think that was the very first film I saw him in. And there's some shootouts, you know, mid-flight, the pilot as well, and you've got Ray Liotta going up against a few flight attendants or stewardesses or bimbos of the sky, whatever you want to call them. Yes, so it's kind of like a fight mid-air to take control of the plane and land it safely and avoid being killed by Ray Liotta. So yeah, another great film. This is a very underrated action film from the 90s. From 1997. This also had Dolby Vision. This is a Kino Lorber release, so it's not available in the UK. DTS HD 5.1 audio was good on this. A bit grainy from here and there, but that's only like the external shots. But the quality inside the plane was very dark, but it had all the colours because the inside of the plane was decorated with like tinsel and flashing Christmas lights and shit like that. But it's a really good film. Ray Liotta, that's always been my favourite Ray Liotta performance in Turbulence. I thought he was absolutely fantastic as the baddie in that film. So that was Turbulence. Next up, from 1997 as well, we have Dante's Peak. Yes, with James Bond himself, Pierce Brosnan and Linda Hamilton. This is a Roger Donaldson film. And this is about this little small... I like using the word idyllic. It's a nice little village or a little town in the mountains in America somewhere. And it's been voted like in the best 20 small town under 20 population or something like that. It's got an award, and they start getting some rumbles, and they send out old Pierce Brosnan, who's like a geologist or thermonuclear volcanologist. I don't know what you call them. To check out, what's going on, because there's this massive mountain, this massive volcano that has been being a bit like my stomach and rumbling. Yeah. So they go out, and unfortunately, yeah, the shit hits the fan. And the rest of the town as well. And the town are very reluctant, the mayor and everybody are reluctant to put it on lockdown and evacuate people because they're supposed to be getting some big investment that's worth millions. And if the investors catch on that there's some problem, that this volcano might blow, then they'll pull their investment. So they try to hush it hush. But Pierce Brosnan is here to save the day. With also Linda Hamilton, who's the town... She's the mayor, yeah. Good film, action film. It's a big build-up at the beginning. It's probably about 45 minutes to an hour before it starts to get in. Because it's a build-up. We see little scenes with like trembles, and then we get another scene where a couple get boiled to death in like a little lake. But it's one of those great action disaster films from the 90s that paired up with another one. You know, this came out around about the same time as Volcano, just like Armageddon came out at the same time as Deep Impact. And that's another one, Deep Impact. I missed that one off the list as well. And again, another fantastic film. So I think really I probably would have done something that got like a top 15, but I didn't really have time. So I just did as many as I could. I would have got those other ones in had I not been ill for a week. Yeah, any excuse, eh? But anyway, there we go. That is Dante's Peak. Okay, from 1997. Next up, from 1998, so the following year, is a very underrated film. This is called Hard Rain. And this is Christian Slater and Morgan Freeman. I don't know why I said it like that. Yeah. What can I say about this? This is a very wet film. The entire film is set in this little American town that's evacuated because of the floods and the rain, the continuous rain. I mean, it's like London. Continuous and continuous, and it won't stop raining. Then you've got a dam that's about to, you know, burst its banks and stuff like that, and get flooded. And Christian Slater plays a security guy that's moving money out of the town because of the floods. And of course, Morgan Freeman thinks, I want a bit of that money. Yeah, so it's kind of like a chicken race, you know. Who's going to get the money first, who can hide the money, and who's going to end up with the money, that kind of thing. Randy Quaid is also in it. He plays the local town sheriff, or the local policeman. There was somebody else in it as well. I can't remember. Who is it? Minnie Driver, that's it. And Betty White. Betty White was in it. She was like a little elderly old lady with her husband, and she refused to leave her house, and she set up traps around the house. So if anybody tries to get in the house and steal stuff, you know, the trap will snap their feet off or something. Yeah, so she was funny in that. She was really funny. But yeah, it's a very underrated film. It is a very dark film throughout because, of course, it's all mainly set at night time with the miserable rain and the clouds and stuff like that. But it is a fun film. This has a DTS Master Audio 5.1. The rain scenes were good, you know, the surrounds with the rain all around you, and it had some good bass on it as well. And I did mention about Dante's Peak. That had a great picture. And really good practical effects on Dante's Peak as well. The scene where the lorries were going across the bridge, it just looks like real, but it's all models. So yeah, it looked fantastic. But that's Hard Rain. That's from 1998. So yeah, an underrated one, that one. Next up, and this is actually kind of funny because when I was chatting to the bloke over in HMV in Canterbury last week, we were talking about action films, and I was telling him I was rewatching loads of 90s action disaster films, and I mentioned this film, and he said Steven Seagal's best film. Yeah, executive decision. If you know, you know. Yes, this is really good. Yeah, this is Kurt Russell. Again, another mid-air disaster. More action than a disaster film, really. Again, it's like Die Hard on a plane. What was his name? Andreas Katsoulis, who played Jakar in Babylon 5. He's this big Middle Eastern terrorist that the Americans have captured. And Poirot, the bloke who played Poirot, is it David Suchet? I think it's David Suchet. Yes, it is David Suchet. He takes control of a plane, takes it hostage, takes everybody hostage, and he wants this other bloke, Andreas Katsoulis, to be released. Otherwise, he's going to, you know, blow up the plane or dump some chemical weapons. That's it. They hijack chemical weapons, and they were going to drop it all over New York or something like that. Yeah, so yeah, really good film. This one does have Halle Berry, who plays one of the flight attendants. You've got John Leguizamo, Oliver Platt. So it's a really great cast. Joe Morton, and of course you've got Steven Seagal as well, who is only in it for probably about 15 minutes. Yeah, but again, another great action film. And I completely forgot in this film that Oceanic Air, the same, yeah, the same as Lost. And I didn't know that it's actually a fictitious airline that they use for movies and TV shows. So if you ever see something other than Lost and it uses Oceanic Air, it means so that they don't have to think up another, company or get sued for using TWA or Pan Am or something like that. So it's kind of like a fictitious movie airline. Yeah. So there we go. So that is executive decision. That is a DTS HD Master Audio 5.1 again. So yeah, really good film. I really want that one on a 4K. A lot of these would be really good in 4K actually. So that was executive decision. That was from 1996. Now we are going a few years forward to 1998, but we are sticking with Kurt Russell, and we are going with Soldier. Yes, this is more of an action film than a disaster film. This is a futuristic film. I think it's called, his name's Todd, and it's part of the, I think it's called the Adam Project or Project Adam. And it's about a load of babies that are bred and trained up to become soldiers. And they go through this whole regime, but they haven't got any sense of humour or characteristics. They're like robots. They're like Terminators. And then another load come in with, what's his name? Jason Scott. Jason Scott Lee. He comes in with another, like more advanced soldiers. And he gets dumped, basically. He gets sent and dumped on this planet. It's like Wally. It's like a trash planet. Meets up with a load of the locals there and tries to slot in, but it doesn't really work. He doesn't gel with them. But of course, these more advanced ones, I call them more advanced soldiers. Yeah, they come knocking and start to kill off the population. And it's all fighting, one-on-one and all that kind of stuff. So there's quite a lot of cast in this. Kurt Russell, as I say, Jason Scott Lee. You got Jason Isaacs, who's playing this big military leader who's leading these new super soldiers. He's a bit of a git in it actually. You've got Gary Busey. It wouldn't be like an action film without Gary Busey. Plus we have Sean Pertwee as well, and Connie Nielsen. So quite a big cast for a relatively low budget unknown film, for a lot of people mainstream wise. But yes, it's fun. It's a fun film, and it's not very long. It's about an hour and a half, so it doesn't take up too much time. But that's Soldier from 1998. DTS HD Master Audio 5.1. Big bass explosions in this. It really uses the old subwoofer. Plus there's lots of loud gunfire action as well. So yes, there we go. That's Soldier. Really good. Okay, we're back, dipping back a year now to 1997. And we're going back to the disaster genre. And this is Volcano with Tommy Lee Jones. Yes, this came out around about the same time as Dante's Peak. And this is about a volcano that erupts in the middle of Los Angeles and basically spews all lava and shit like that. Tommy Lee Jones is like he's like an official in like the geological association, a bit like the Piers Brosnan character from Dante's Peak. And he gets in, he has to check out if it's going to erupt, if it's going to go all over Hollywood Boulevard. And you've also got Anne Hesh in there as well, a few other people, and Don Cheadle as well. And that's basically it. That's basically it. It's about an erupting volcano in Los Angeles, and can they stop it from flattening Beverly Hills? It is a good little disaster film. I don't know. I think I prefer Dante's Peak actually, because it's a bigger, even though they use kind of similar locations, one rooted location, like this uses LA, that's it. And then Dante's Peak, you've got Dante's Peak, which is this little village, so you don't really go anywhere else. I think I prefer Dante's Peak, it kind of, for the landscape, although it is nice watching Hollywood get shit on by a massive piece of lava. But anyway, yeah, there you go. That is Volcano. That's got a DTS HD Master Audio 5.1 soundtrack as well. Yeah. Next up, we are going to 1996 now. And we are going with a bit of John Travolta and Christian Slater in Broken Arrow. And this is a really great action film. This is John Woo, I believe. Yes, it is. John Woo also did Face Off. I could have also included Face Off in this list. So unfortunately, there's a few big action disaster films I would love to have included in this list, but I love Face Off. It's just a shame I couldn't include a few more. But yeah, this is about John Travolta and Christian Slater, who play stealth fighter pilots. And John Travolta decides to hijack the stealth fighter and steal the nuclear weapons. Yes. And it's up to Christian Slater, who fighting for his life after an onboard fight, gets ejected from the plane. The plane crashes, and he has to help locate these nuclear weapons and stop old Travolta from stealing them. So again, another great action film. One thing about this film, it's got a very recognisable theme tune. It always reminded me of Twin Peaks. It goes bom 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 bom, you know, like a twangy guitar. Every time I watch it, and Twin Peaks comes to mind. Yeah. So yeah, really great action film. Definitely watch Broken Arrow if you haven't. That was from 1996. That's got a DTS HD Master Audio 5.1 soundtrack as well. Also from 1996. One of the best action movies, not only of the 90s, but of all time. And that is The Rock. Yeah, with Sean Connery, Nicolas Cage and Ed Harris. This has an uncompressed Dolby Digital soundtrack. So it sounded really good though, but it could do with a nice Atmos soundtrack if we get a 4K one day. Hopefully we will. And there was great picture quality on this. Absolutely fantastic. What is it about? It's not about a piece of rock. It's about Alcatraz that's been taken hostage by Ed Harris, who's this big, massive general who's unhappy that soldiers that were under him in previous campaigns never got their recognition, never got, you know, their families never got money, you know, paid for their, you know, fighting for their country, or medals or things like that, which is unacceptable. So he takes a load of hostages, takes a load of VX gas, hijacks a load of VX gas, and threatens to basically unleash hell on San Francisco. Nicolas Cage plays, I can't remember his character's name. Yeah, I can't quite remember his name. Stanley, isn't it? Stanley Goodspeed, that's it. Yeah, he plays like a biochemist who's trained in this kind of VX gas and knows all about it. And they want him to go in with some Marines onto Alcatraz to basically get rid of this VX gas, make it unusable. But how do they know how to get there? You know, well, they turn to the one person that actually escaped from Alcatraz, that's right, it's former retired 00 agent James Bond. Yes, it's Sean Connery. There's been a theory going around for years that it's actually James Bond. He went to America or something, and went into hiding, but it's actually James Bond. It's not, well, not that we know of anyway. John Mason, he's an ex-SAS soldier from back in the day, but who knows? It's a nice theory. So they need Sean Connery as the only person that escaped Alcatraz to help them get in. You've got Michael Biehn on like the military side that takes them in, and it's a really good action film. Lots of slow motion action, obviously, because it's a Jerry Bruckheimer film, and that I think it's directed by Michael Bay, isn't it? That's why it's got slow motion. Lots of slow motion jumping scenes and falling scenes, and it has that Michael Bay orange tint to it. Yeah, fantastic film. Definitely needs a 4K transfer and Dolby Atmos as well. Great picture quality on that one. Two left, and they are both from 1998. First up, we have Breakdown, which, although it's got a lot of action in it, it kind of feels more like an action thriller rather than a full-on action film. But I just wanted to get some great films from the 90s that have got a lot of action in. And this does fall into the action category, more or less. Not a very long film, 90 odd minutes. An hour and 33 minutes. Yeah, so not too long. Kurt Russell and Kathleen Quinlan. Yeah. They're driving across America in their car, and it breaks down, and his wife, they want to go and get some help with the car. So she decides to hop in this lorry driven by JT Walsh to go and get some help. While Kurt Russell stays with the car and meets her up in the nearby town. But then he loses track of her. Oh, I don't know. I know losing a coin, down the back of the sofa, but losing your wife? Yes, so, and when he does meet up with the police, when Kurt Russell meets up with the police and stops the lorry with JT Walsh driving it, he completely ignores him and says he's never seen him in his life. So it's a hunt. It's a bit like a hunt for Kurt Russell to piece together where his wife's been and who's involved in a potential kidnapping. And actually it gets a bit gruesome at the end when you realise how long it's been going on for. Yeah, I won't say, but you can see that there's been a lot of people involved, and a lot of people have gone missing over the years because of this JT Walsh character. And there's a nice crash at the end, with the lorries and car chases at the end as well. So yeah, there was quite a good bit of action in it. But there is a 4K coming for this. Yeah, so I've got the imprint version here, but there's a nice 4K coming out very soon. This is a DTS HD Master Audio 5.1. It has a fantastic picture quality. So, wow, I think the 4K is going to be brilliant. Okay, so we've done 10. We've got one more left. Like I say, there have been a few that I couldn't fit in because of my recent illness and not having time to watch them. That includes like Con Air, Face Off, and a few others. But I did want to do one more. I did want to add one more, and for me, this is the 90s so far as action and disaster. More disaster than action. It's probably one of the greatest disaster films of all time, and I could watch it one after another. I could do multiple viewings. It's so fun. There's a lot of comedy in it from certain characters, especially Steve Buscemi. And it's just a fantastic Save the Earth film. It can only be Armageddon. That's right, Armageddon out of here. Again, another Michael Bay film. It's got that familiar Michael Bay look to it and slow motion. And it's basically about an asteroid or a meteor that's heading towards Earth and is basically a global killer. Extinction level event. You know, the human race will be wiped out. What can they do? What can they do to destroy this meteor? Well, they bring in the world's best deep sea drillers, you know, oil riggers. And that is Bruce Willis and Ben Affleck and Steve Buscemi, Will Patton. Who else do we get? Michael Clark Duncan. They bring them all in. They train them all up at NASA. They head off on a couple of space shuttles, and that space shuttle launch, those two shuttles really get me every time. And we're all choked up. And and it sounds fantastic, and I would love that in Dolby Atmos. Can you imagine those shuttles taking off in Dolby Atmos? Holy shit. Yes. And then it's a matter of like slingshotting around the moon, landing on this meteor, and Steve Buscemi getting space dementia and saving the world and blowing this bloody thing up so they can all get back home. And some great action, some disaster scenes. So you do actually see parts of Earth being attacked, like Paris and I think it's Japan or Taiwan, somewhere like that. But yeah, Paris is just completely flattened. And it's just, yeah, probably, in my opinion, the greatest disaster movie of all time. But we are all different. We all like different films. But this is a pinnacle. This is the 90s action disaster top. You can't get any higher than this. And I remember I went to see this with Mama Bowman and Papa Bowman at the Odeon Leicester Square when it opened. We were in the royal balcony, and about 3 rows down from us was Tony Blackburn. It was either Tony Blackburn or Alan Freeman. Fluff. I think it was Tony Blackburn. I'm pretty sure it's Tony Blackburn. I do remember it was a radio DJ though. I always remember that. I've always remembered. Yeah, I've always remembered that. But yeah, great ending. Liv Tyler, fantastic. Her relationship with Ben Affleck is so believable in this. Bruce Willis, one of the best films that he's ever been in. Yeah, just absolutely love it. Fantastic. Like I say, great supporting cast as well, especially Steve Buscemi. Just awesome. And of course, you can't forget the song that, you know, made the film even more famous, from Aerosmith, I Don't Want to Miss a Thing. And yeah, that gets me every single time at the end, every single time. But there we go. That is Armageddon, the greatest action disaster film of the 90s, probably of all time, in fact. There we go. So that is it. So that is my little stash of 90s action and disaster films. It's a shame I couldn't get any more in, but there you go. But we're going to get on to horror stuff now. So a couple of days. I know it's the 1st of October today already, but I do want to get in Joker. I do want to rewatch Joker before I go and see the second film on Friday, even though it's getting a few pan-ins at the moment, but I'm still going to see it. Yeah, and then from you know, this week it will be just horrors. I've got a whole list of horror films on physical media that I want to watch as well. So I'll be doing those. I'll be reviewing those in a video at the end of the month. Fantastic. So there we go. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, like it by giving it some thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, comment and share. Stick down in the comments what are your favourite action and disaster films from the 1990s. Maybe there's a few that I completely forgot about that are, you know, are massive, or some little unknown gems. You see what happens when I don't edit it that I completely bypassed. But yeah, let me know down in the comments, and till the next video, bye bye.